The exploration ship Artemis Wayfarer moved through empty space in calm silence. It was not a warship. It was not even important by human standards. It was a long-range survey vessel, built to test new jump systems and chart safe paths between distant stars. To the people aboard, this mission was routine. Captain Jay Han stood on the bridge with his hands behind his back. He was relaxed, watching quiet streams of data scroll across the main screen. Around him, the crew worked without stress. Navigator Soo Kim adjusted star charts. Engineer Myra Park checked engine readings. Diplomat Haiyan Lee sat nearby, reviewing contact protocols. Though no contact was expected, the jump was supposed to place them far outside known space. That was the plan. The new drive had been tested many times, but this was its longest jump yet. No one expected trouble. Myra Park frowned slightly as a warning light blinked. "That is odd," she said calmly. "Jump margin is off by a fraction." Captain Jay Han turned his head. "Can you correct it?" "Yes, already adjusting." The crew felt the jump begin. Space folded, light stretched, and then everything snapped back into place. Silence. Then alarms rang. Not from the human ship, but from outside. Soo Kim's eyes widened as sensor data flooded in. "Captain, we are not alone." The main screen lit up with shapes. Massive ones, warships, hundreds of them. They formed perfect lines and circles, their weapons already charging. Captain Jay Han blinked once. "Where are we?" Soo Kim checked again, then again. "According to their signal markers, we are inside controlled space. Very controlled space." "How controlled?" "Enough that we should not exist here." Myra Park let out a slow breath. "So the jump went wrong?" "Yes," Soo Kim said, "by several thousand light years." The human ship drifted quietly while the surrounding fleets locked targeting systems. On Imperial ships, alarms screamed. Unknown vessel. Unknown design. No warning. No border alert triggered. Inside the Artemis Wayfarer, the mood was calm. Captain Jay Han nodded. "Open communications. Let us say hello." Haiyan Lee raised an eyebrow. "Already?" "We are the ones who made a mistake," the captain said. "Best to be polite." Before the human signal even finished connecting, a harsh transmission cut in. "Unidentified craft, you have violated sovereign territory of the Karun Galactic Empire. Power down your systems immediately." The voice was sharp and tense. Haiyan Lee leaned forward. "This is Diplomat Haiyan Lee of the human vessel Artemis Wayfarer. We appear to have entered your space unintentionally. We request clarification of local traffic rules and the safest exit route." There was a long pause. On Imperial ships, officers stared at their screens. No fear, no begging, no weapons raised. "You will submit to inspection," the voice replied. "You will prepare for seizure." Captain Jay Han spoke quietly. "Ask if that is mandatory." Haiyan Lee nodded. "Is inspection mandatory for accidental entry, or is there a fine or redirection process?" Another pause. Imperial commanders exchanged confused signals. This was not how intruders behaved. "Yes," the voice said slowly. "There will be penalties." "Understood," Haiyan Lee replied. "Please transmit the cost." The Imperial response took several seconds. When the number arrived, Quartermaster Unit Choi whistled softly. "That is expensive," she said, "but cheaper than fuel reroute." Captain Jay Han nodded. "Pay it." Funds transferred instantly. On the Imperial side, silence spread. They expected threats. Or deception. Or at least anger. Instead, the humans waited. Soo Kim studied the surrounding fleets. "Captain, their weapon output is high, but coordination is rigid." "Meaning?" "They follow rules very closely." Myra Park smiled faintly. That explains the panic. An Imperial escort ship moved closer, scanners probing the Artemis Wayfarer. Engineers aboard the escort frowned at what they saw. Human systems were strange, overbuilt, layered, damaged sections, sealed off automatically, even though nothing was wrong. Inside the human ship, Mira Park watched the scans with interest. "They are looking at our backups." Captain Jahan nodded. "We have many. Too many," she said. "They will not understand why." On an Imperial cruiser nearby, alarms suddenly blared. A reactor fluctuation spread through its core. The ship drifted out of formation. Human sensors caught it instantly. Su Kim turned. "Captain, one of their ships is in trouble." Jahan did not hesitate. "Can we help?" "Yes," Mira Park said. "Very easily. Do it." Haiyan Li opened a channel. "One of your vessels appears unstable. We are deploying repair drones. You are not authorized. The warning came too late. Human drones launched, fast and precise. They latched onto the Imperial cruiser, sealing cracks, stabilizing energy flow, and correcting balance errors within minutes. On the damaged ship, panic turned into shock. Systems returned to normal. Lives were saved. The drones pulled back and returned home. Captain Jahan clasped his hands again. "Let them know the repairs are temporary." Haiyan Li nodded and sent the message. The Imperial fleet slowly powered down weapons, somewhere deep within the Karun Empire. Alarms of a different kind began to sound. Political alerts. Strategic warnings. Unknown species. Calm under threat. Casual assistance to warships. Inside the Artemis Wayfarer, the crew waited patiently. Su Kim looked at updated star maps being sent over. "Captain, they are giving us exit routes." Jahan smiled slightly. "Good. Let us make sure we do not jump into anyone else's home next time." The ship drifted quietly, surrounded by an empire that did not yet understand what had just entered its space. The silence after the repairs felt heavier than the weapons fire that never came. The human ship remained still, its engines quiet, its systems steady. Around it, the Imperial fleets shifted position, no longer pointing weapons directly, but not fully relaxed either. Inside the Karun command network, confusion spread. Reports moved faster than officials could read them. An unknown species had entered Imperial space by accident. They had paid fines without protest. They had repaired a damaged warship without permission. They had not demanded anything in return. Prefect Tao Ra stood in the command chamber, his long fingers gripping the edge of a data console. His eyes moved across the reports, again. "This makes no sense," he said. His aides remained silent. Every assumption they had was failing. Tao Ra opened a direct channel to the human ship. "Human vessel, you will submit full identification records immediately." On the Artemis Wayfarer, Haiyan Li listened calmly. "Captain, they want full data." Captain Jahan nodded once. "Give them basic information. Species name, origin system, civilian status. No military data?" "We are not a military ship." Haiyan Li transmitted the files. "Human history summaries, population estimates, exploration status. No secrets, no exaggeration." On the Imperial side, analysts froze. The numbers were wrong. Too large. Too chaotic. Humanity had survived disasters that would have erased most species. Wars that lasted centuries. Planet-wide collapses. Rebuilding after each one. An intelligence officer whispered, "They should be extinct." Tao Ra's eyes narrowed. "Yet they are not." He ordered a controlled inspection. One ship only. No boarding, just scans. The inspection vessel approached the Artemis Wayfarer slowly. Its scanners swept across the human hull, diving deep into systems. Inside the human ship, Myra Park watched the data feed with interest. They are confused, she said. Sue Kim glanced over. About what? About everything. Our engines, our power flow, our backups. Captain Jay Han looked at her. Explain. Our systems are not optimized for efficiency, Myra said. They are optimized for survival. They see waste. We see safety. Imperial engineers studied the results. Power lines looped back into themselves. Control systems duplicated again and again. Manual overrides everywhere. Why so many backups? One engineer asked. Another replied, they expect failure. Constantly. The Imperial ship that had been repaired earlier sent a private message. Gratitude, respect, quiet fear. Meanwhile, Imperial lawmakers argued across vast halls. Some demanded immediate containment. Others saw opportunity, trade, knowledge, technology. Advisor Rin Seo stood among them, listening. Unlike the others, she focused not on weapons, but on behavior. They are not acting strong, she said. They are acting normal. Tal Ra turned to her. Explain. They do not posture. They do not threaten. They do not fear punishment. This suggests they are used to worse situations. The room fell quiet. Back aboard the Artemis Wayfarer, Una Choi finished reviewing updated fines and transit rules. Captain, their penalties increase the longer we remain. Jae Han nodded. That is fair. Sue Kim frowned. They seem nervous. They should be, Myra Park said lightly. We broke all their rules by accident. A new message arrived. A formal invitation. Temporary docking. Controlled environment. Political observers. Hyein Lee read it aloud. They want to understand us. Captain Jae Han considered it. Accept, but make it clear we leave after. The human ship followed escort vessels toward a massive station. It was ancient, built with strict symmetry and rigid design. Everything had a place. Everything followed rules. As the Artemis Wayfarer docked, Imperial officials watched closely. No hidden weapons. No sudden moves. Inside the station, observation teams studied human behavior. The way they walked. The way they spoke. Calm. Curious. Unimpressed. An Imperial officer whispered, "They are inside the heart of the Empire." "Yes," another replied. "And they do not care." During discussions, humans asked simple questions. Navigation lanes. Emergency response times. Repair standards. One official snapped, "Why do you care?" Myra Park answered honestly, "Because things break." That answer unsettled them. Rinseo watched closely. She noticed how humans deferred to each other naturally. No rigid hierarchy. No fear of speaking. These people trust systems more than authority. She thought. When told of the Empire's size, Sue Kim nodded. "We will need to update our maps." The room went silent. Some took it as insult. Others as threat. Rinseo understood it differently. It was not pride. It was planning. Hours later, Captain Jae Han prepared departure requests. The humans had learned what they needed. Tal Ra sent one final message. "Your presence has caused instability." Jae Han replied calmly, "We apologize. That was not our intention. And yet you are not afraid." "No," Jae Han said. "We just want to go home." As the Artemis Wayfarer powered its engines, Imperial leaders watched. They realized something deeply unsettling. Humanity had entered their empire by mistake and treated it like a minor delay. The Artemis Wayfarer remained docked longer than planned, not because the humans wished to stay, but because the Empire could not decide what to do with them. Meetings followed meetings. Messages crossed space in tight, careful language. Every delay made the Empire more nervous. Inside the station, Observation teams watched the humans at all hours. They expected secret drills or coded signals. Instead, they saw routine life. Crew members exercised. Engineers ran checks. The diplomat drank warm tea and reviewed notes. Mira Park spent time in the repair bay, adjusting systems that did not need fixing. She did it out of habit. Machines stayed alive longer when treated early. An Imperial engineer named Carrel stood nearby, unable to hide his confusion. "You repaired nothing," he said. "Yet you work." Mira smiled politely. "I am making sure nothing fails later." Carrel tilted his head. "We repair after failure." "That is risky," Mira replied. "It is standard." "Standards change," Mira said, and returned to her work. Elsewhere, Captain Jehan met with Prefect Tal Ra and Advisor Rin Sio. The room was wide and formal. Symbols of power lined the walls. Tal Ra spoke first. "Your people confuse us." Jehan nodded. "That is understandable. You entered our space without warning. You ignored threat displays. You paid penalties as if they were nothing." "They were not nothing," Jehan said calmly. "They were simply manageable." Rin Sio watched him closely. "You speak as if danger is common." "It is," Jehan replied. "Where we come from." Tal Ra leaned forward. "Are you at war?" "No." "Preparing for one?" "Always," Jehan said, without pride. That answer spread quietly through the Empire. Imperial intelligence dug deeper. They accessed open human data networks shared during contact. They found debates, arguments, failures, and constant rebuilding. Humanity did not hide its scars. An analyst reported. They do not seek perfection. They seek recovery. Military leaders grew uneasy. Fleets trained to overwhelm failed to understand an enemy that expected loss. During a station-wide power fluctuation, alarms rang. Several sections lost energy. Imperial crews rushed in panic. Human systems reacted instantly. Emergency lights activated. Doors sealed. Life support stabilized. Su Kim noticed the chaos on external feeds. "Captain, they are struggling." Jehan nodded. "We can help again." Haiyan Li hesitated. "They may not like it." "They will survive," Jehan said. "That matters more." Human crews moved with quiet speed. Portable generators were deployed. Simple tools solved complex problems. The power returned faster than Imperial estimates allowed. Station officials, watched in disbelief. RINCO arrived at the scene. Observing how humans worked together without orders shouted or fear displayed, they assume systems will break, she realized. So they practice fixing them. Later, she requested a private meeting with Haiyan Li. "Your people do not chase control," Rin Sio said. "Why?" Haiyan considered the question. "Control is fragile. Adaptation lasts longer." That answer stayed with her. As the days passed, trade guilds made quiet offers. Knowledge exchange. Shared engineering practices. Emergency response training. The humans accepted none yet. They recorded everything. Unichoi reviewed resource costs. "Captain, staying longer is becoming expensive." Jehan nodded. "Then we prepare to leave." Tal Ra received the notice with visible tension. "You will depart?" "Yes," Jehan said. "As planned." "You have changed things," Tal Ra said. "Our people are afraid." "I am sorry," Jehan replied. "We did not intend that, but you did not reassure them." "We cannot pretend to be small," Jehan said quietly. "That would be dishonest." Rin Sio spoke up. "They are not threatening us. They are reminding us that survival is not clean." The launch time approached. On the station, some watched with relief. Others with regret. As the Artemis Wayfarer undocked, human crews moved through final checks. Myra Park smiled faintly as engines responded perfectly. Soo Kim plotted the exit path carefully. "Captain, this route avoids major traffic." "Good," Jahan said. "Let us leave gently." A final message arrived from the Imperial Council. An invitation. Future talks. Mutual observation. Jahan accepted it without ceremony. As the human ship moved away, Imperial fleets did not follow. They watched. Rinseo stood at the viewport. "They did not conquer us," she said softly. "They showed us ourselves." Tal Ra remained silent. Far from the station, the Artemis Wayfarer prepared for jump. To the humans, it was another correction. Another lesson learned. To the Empire, it was the moment they realized strength did not always announce itself. The human ship vanished into folded space, leaving behind quiet systems, repaired stations, and a galaxy that now questioned its own certainty. After the human ship left the station, the Empire did not return to normal. News spread through official channels and then leaked into public networks. Stories changed as they traveled. A single human vessel became a quiet fleet. Calm behavior became secret strength. Repairs became hidden tests. Across the Karun Empire, commanders reviewed footage again and again. They watched humans walk through danger without haste. They listened to calm voices during emergencies. They tried to understand why fear never appeared. Advisor Rinseo attended many councils. The same question rose each time. Are humans a threat? She answered carefully. They are not trying to be. That answer did not satisfy anyone. Trade guilds argued that humans could improve infrastructure. Military leaders warned that such improvement could shift balance. Civil leaders feared public panic if the truth spread too widely. Prefect Tal Ra stood before a projection of Imperial space. "They crossed this distance by accident," he said. "What happens when they do it on purpose?" No one replied. On the Artemis Wayfarer, life returned to routine. The crew reviewed logs and adjusted calculations. Mistakes were recorded openly. No one was punished. Problems were treated as shared responsibility. Navigator Soo Kim adjusted star maps again. "Captain, their lanes are dense. Easy to enter by error. We will mark them clearly," Jahan said. For others, engineer Myra Park compiled a report on Imperial systems. "They rely too much on perfect conditions," she said. "One failure spreads fast." Haiyan Li reviewed diplomatic recordings. "They react strongly to calm answers." "That is their problem," Jahan replied gently. "Not ours." Back in the Empire, a border patrol detected a reactor fault in a remote outpost. It was small, but dangerous. Imperial response time was slow due to command delays. An officer remembered the human methods. Without approval, he applied similar procedures. Simple isolation, redundant power, manual checks. The outpost survived. Reports noted improved response. Whispers followed. Rinseo read those reports and smiled briefly. Humans were influencing the Empire without trying. Public opinion shifted in quiet ways. Some called humans careless giants. Others called them teachers. A few called them monsters who smiled too easily. The council requested another meeting with human representatives. This time, they asked for guidance. The message reached the Artemis Wayfarer days later. Haiyan Li read it. "They want advice." "About what?" Jahan asked. "Emergency response. Infrastructure resilience. Civilian survival planning." Jahan nodded. "Share open standards. Nothing classified." Myra Park uploaded human safety frameworks. Not weapons. Not tactics. Just ways to survive when things break. Imperial analysts studied the data. It was simple. Almost obvious. That made it worse. Why did we not do this before? One asked. Another replied, because we assumed systems would not fail. Military exercises across the empire changed. Crews practiced working without orders. Engineers trained for damaged conditions. Officers learned to listen instead of command. Resistance formed. Some leaders accused humans of cultural interference. Others warned that adopting human ideas weakened authority. Tal Rai watched the divide grow. He requested a private channel to Captain Jehan. "Your people have unsettled us," Tal Ra said. "We are far away." Jehan replied, "You are changing yourselves? That may be worse." Jehan paused. "Growth often is." Silence followed. A distant imperial colony suffered a meteor strike. Damage spread quickly. Communications failed. Panic followed. Human protocols were applied again. Local leaders acted without waiting for approval. Casualties were lower than expected. News spread. The empire began to split between those who feared humans and those who respected them. Rinco spoke publicly for the first time. "They did not arrive to rule us," she said. "They arrived by mistake. The danger is not them. The danger is ignoring what they showed us." Crowds listened. On the Artemis Wayfarer, Una Choi reviewed supply levels. "Captain, we are nearly clear of Imperial space." "Good," Jehan said. "Set final course." Su Kim checked the path one last time. No empires ahead. Myra Park smiled. "Let us keep it that way." Before the jump, a final message arrived. A formal statement from the Karun Empire. Recognition of humanity as a sovereign civilization. Invitation to future cooperation. Jehan accepted it quietly. The ship jumped in the space they left behind. The empire continued to change. Systems were rebuilt. Command structures softened. Survival planning replaced. Pride. The humans did not stay to see it. They had never meant to teach anyone. They had only shown how they lived, and that was enough to shake an empire. Time passed, and the human ship moved far beyond the borders of the Karun Empire. To the crew of the Artemis Wayfarer, the journey returned to its quiet rhythm. Engines hummed. Stars passed. Data filled long reports. The mistake that had carried them into an empire was now a lesson logged and archived. Captain Jehan reviewed the final summary. The jump error was corrected. New safety limits were added. Warnings were prepared for other human explorers. "Make sure this is shared," he said calmly. "No one should repeat our mistake." Su Kim nodded. "Already sent to Navigation Command." For the humans, the event was closing. For the Karun Empire, it was only beginning. Across Imperial space, changes continued. Emergency drills became common. Systems once built for beauty were redesigned for survival. Commanders trained to act without perfect orders. Older leaders resisted. Younger ones adapted. Advisor Rincio traveled often now, speaking with governors and fleet captains. She did not speak of humans as saviors or threats. She spoke of preparation. "They showed us how fragile we are," she said, "and how strong we could be." Some listened, some did not. Prefect Tao Ra watched the empire shift from his office. Reports showed improved response times, lower losses, more independent action. Yet fear remained. Humans were still out there, quiet, distant, unconcerned. A border council asked Tao Ra if humans would return. "They may," he said, "or they may not. And if they do?" Tao Ra paused. "Then I hope we are ready." Far away, the Artemis Wayfarer received a weak signal relay from the Empire. A request for clarification on a safety protocol. Haiyan Lei read it and smiled faintly. "They are still studying our notes." Myra Park looked up from her tools. "Good. It means they are thinking." Jehan approved the response. Simple answers. No commands. No pressure. Human space grew wider. Colonies expanded. Trade lanes stretched. The story of the accidental jump spread slowly through human networks. Most reactions were simple. That sounds annoying. Did everyone make it home? Good. Fix the drive and move on. No celebration followed. Humanity did not mark the moment as history. Years later, an Imperial science vessel crossed into neutral space. Its captain carried a message meant for humans. It spoke of gratitude. It spoke of lessons learned. It spoke of an empire that no longer believed. Order alone could save it. The message reached human authorities and was archived quietly. Captain J. Han read it once. He nodded. That is enough, he said. On the bridge, Su Kim watched stars slide past. Do you think they feared us? Jae Han considered the question. I think they feared what they saw in themselves. Mara Park adjusted a console. Machines break. Systems fail. Empires too. Yes, Jae Han agreed. And people survive. The Artemis Wayfarer completed its mission months later. The crew rotated out. New crews took their place. The ship continued its quiet work. In the Karun Empire, historians argued about the meaning of the encounter. Some called it first contact. Others called it an accident. Rinseo wrote a single line in her personal record. They entered our empire without concern, not because we were weak, but because they were used to surviving worse. She closed the record. Across the galaxy, rumors spread of humans. Not conquerors. Not monsters. Builders. Fixers. People who walked into danger calmly, not because they were fearless, but because fear had never stopped them before. And so the galaxy learned a quiet truth. Humanity did not rise by dominating others. They rose by enduring. And when they stepped into an empire by mistake, they did not shake it with weapons or words. They shook it by showing how normal survival could be. Then they left, unconcerned, and went on with their lives.